Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by. Today we're going to talk about soldering. All right, let's get right into it, shall we? First things first. If you haven't soldered before, you're going to need a few basic things. A decent soldering iron will make your life easy. I suggest a Haku like this one. It will last you many years and is great for all types of soldering jobs. Now let's talk about tips. Yes, size does matter. What I mean by that is for small parts like a BT2 connector on a small whoop drone, a pointed tip will be fine. But if you're soldering a large connector or something on a battery pack that goes on a 5-inch drone or something similar, then a wedge tip's going to be fine. This transfers the heat to the large surfaces much better than a pointed tip. Let's talk about solder. You should use solder that contains lead. A 60-40 blend is great. It just works better, and as long as you're not eating it, you should be okay. Flux. Flux is key when soldering. I prefer to use a flux pen like this one, but there are many formats out there that will work, like paste, so on and so forth. Alright, next up is something to clean the soldering tip with. A clean soldering tip is a happy soldering tip. It's important to keep the tip clean and tinned to make the best solder joints. And finally, you're going to need something to hold all the things while you're soldering. There are many devices out there like helping hands like these, or for small parts you can even use blue tack, which is malleable, kind of like silly putty back in the day. I'm dating myself here, but look it up if you're curious. Oh, hey, you caught me checking my phone. I'm supposed to be making this video. Hey, hit that like and subscribe button, please. Thanks. All right, now that you know what you need, let's get cracking, shall we? And do some soldering. A little bit of flux on the parts helps the solder flow. All right, we're going to tin the tip of the soldering iron. This is going to help transfer the heat to the parts. And make sure not to blob on too much solder when you're soldering here, especially these small parts. You don't want them to run together and short out. And using high heat helps. You only have to stick around for a second or two to get the parts hot enough in order for the solder to melt on them. That's it. Only takes a few seconds. Alright, let's desolder this PH2 connector from the Mobula 7 so we can put the BT2 connector on. Again, high heat is key, only takes a second to do things. Pro tip, if your heat shrink is a little too small or too tight, you can take a pair of tweezers or a small pair of pliers and kind of stretch it out enough so it'll fit over there nicely. Alright, so very important here. Let's make sure you're matching up the negative and the positive with the right poles. Now with the BT2 connector, I always use this as a reference. Round is ground. So one side of this connector is a little rounded, the other side is flat. The round side's for the negative and the flat side is for the positive, but make sure you double check. Again, heat is key. Only takes a second or two and then everything is nicely soldered together. That's it. We're getting pretty close. Now to wrap things up here. Double, triple check that you didn't get a big blob of solder in between the positive and the negative. I like to take a little bit of hot glue, put it in between the positive and the negative. A little peace of mind that way in case you get into a crash and things loosen up, things don't short out. Alright, now to tidy things up, we'll put a little bit of heat shrink over everything to protect it. And plus it makes it look really nice. I use my soldering iron to shrink the heat shrink on the connector. It's pretty handy. You already have it up and running. It doesn't hurt anything. You can use a torch, a little small one, but you got to be careful. You don't want to melt anything. That's it. We're done. You done it. Now let's check, make sure everything works. Double, triple check that the positive and the negative are lined up properly on the battery before you plug things in. Perfect. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Excellent. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful at all, hit that like button and consider joining the Moo Crew and hit subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one around, okay? See ya.